and we are here with Let's Just Chat. So give it a few minutes, let those notifications go out. As that takes place, I'm going to go ahead and do our usual check. And I have to tell y'all, again, I'll let you know, if you hear background noises, it is what it is. It's a hotel room, and there's people. I don't know how many showers they need to take in the room behind me, but it is what it is. So every time they run water in their bathroom, I can hear it. So if you hear that, it is what it is. If you hear the occasional motor, car starting, or motorcycle, or siren, or cleaning cart, or people talking, I mean, it is what it is. So we do our best, though, to keep it to a minimum for y'all. But I go ahead and let y'all know the noise factor at this particular location. Okay, so it is what it is. And, you know, it really is no different than when I was in Florida and we did a lot of the videos in the car with the helicopters and things like that. So it's not all that much different with from that. So not quite as loud though, but it's got its moments, you know. It is what it is. I don't think they design hotels to be soundproof. No. And you got to remember, it's part of the game of narcissism in the Matrix, because the Matrix and the devil wants to keep your vagus nerve stressed out. So wants to try to irritate you with the noise and pestilence. Remember, God tells us, don't fret about that. Don't be fretting about no noise and pestilence, because it is what it is. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to keep tabs on the time there, but let me get the formalities out of the way. All right, I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance. There you go. Let me get. All right. And I get that y'all can see. I'm looking at what y'all got and what's in the background here, because when the ambient light, it makes it a little difficult for my screensaver there. So I want to make sure that I don't have anything distracting, because we do have the occasional noise thing, okay? It being a hotel and all. So y'all know I can't control outside noises and whatnot. So let's see. Okay, and that see what's in the background there. Okay, and okay, so I just want to make sure, well, what you're seeing over there, my bag, and then on the floor. Okay, but this is just the way it is, and so it kind of gives me an idea. That tote back there is my office tote. It has notebooks and stuff. All right, anyhow, yeah. Oh, let's try this again. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. And so here we are in a location where yours truly has been destined to be for several years now. And so we finally made it. And we are getting familiar with the area and what God's revealing to me and reminding me of things that I've learned along the way. Because never forget, we're big on this, y'all. Don't forget what you've learned because of a new circumstance, okay? That's how the devil catches you off guard. If you forget the lessons that you've learned because of a new circumstance, then the devil can catch you off guard like that. So we got to learn. Carry them lessons with us. Don't forget. And so for me, it was a reminder of the chemicals used for cleaning that I used to use when I was a cleaning person as well. And so God's been reintroducing me to that. He said, because in this area, it is a very prominent type of cleaner that it's cheap. And that's why. And so he said, in this area, you're going to get a whiff of that here and there. So you just got to get used to that. The thing is that it's a matter of whether or not they're following the instructions on the bottle. All right. And so when we detect that they're not, we don't forget what we've learned about remedying that, okay, remedying, okay, if you will, that, and we stop it from permeating through certain things, because it shouldn't do that. It should not do that, okay? If it does that, then that means it's too strong, they're not following instruction. So, that being said, we get around that resistance all the time. But I wanted to get on here and talk a bit more about this. I have alluded to how narcissists do this, and it's becoming more clear, and I think we know why. Because the Matrix gives them special treatment for being unwell, right? Because they think that they're sick, right? And I'm not talking about demonic possession and mental issues, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about health. Because a lot of narcissists will do this. They will fake sicknesses to get attention. Yes. You know, it's ironic too, because I've had the interaction with the narcissist before where they weren't feeling very well and wanted to be left alone, but yet at the same time wanted to be pampered. So I'm like, oh, wow, okay, now we're beginning to understand James 1 verse 8 even more, about how a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And I'm like, well, there you go, because it's like, and that's part of their attempt to confuse us and distract us and to get on our nerves, because it's like 1 minute they don't want anything, or they don't feel good, they just want to be left alone, that's what they say. And then turn around and they want you to bring them some soup. And I'm like, okay, which is it? Do you want to be left alone, or do you want to be pampered? Because, I mean, seriously, you know, and I know I used to be a little sarcastic from time to time, but it would make you want to say things like, well, excuse me, but my other two hands are at grandma's house, you know, because like they want you to, yeah, that's a narcissist for you, because they are double-minded, but they're also deliberately doing that to get you to step out of character. They want to see you react. They want to see if you will be sarcastic with them. They want to see if, because they want to start an argument. And so you find out not too long after that little episode that all of a sudden they feel fine and now they want to go out to dinner. Really? Really? Just a couple hours ago, you were, see, they fake that, okay? Because they are fake. They will fake sickness to do that, to play that game, to play that head game. And so they do that. They will fake an illness to get attention. And, oh, if you listen, if you don't think that they will fake an illness just to go to the big H, you better think again, because they will. Because that's where they get a lot of attention. Oh yeah, that's where they get a lot of attention. That's why a lot of narcissists become dependent on it. Because they know that, well, especially as they age, it gets more difficult for them to obtain supply as they age. So they know that if they can fake, okay, not all of them do, but, well, as they get older, it gets a little more difficult to fake it because they actually are, like, perishing. But they do. They'll fake an illness just to go to the big H or the ER. They will do that because there they will get all kinds of attention. Yeah, I mean, gosh almighty. And because they play the script so well, not only do they get special treatment at the big H, but they also get, not necessarily, well, they get coddled. You know, special treatment, but they get coddled and they get their ego stroked. They get an ego boost. They will fake being sick just to go to the big H where they'll get special treatment and be coddled and get an ego stroke. Because they want to be told by doctors and nurses that they're such a good patient. That's what they want to hear. A narcissist. So if they're not getting their ego stroked anywhere else, because they run out of supply for whatever reason, so they come up with this. It's not an original idea, but they fake being sick so they can go and they can get that attention and be coddled and be told that they're such a good, oh gosh almighty, you know how when we were little, and if we were such a good child, sitting in that dentist chair, what we get? A lollipop. Oh, cognitive dissonance in action right there, right? A lollipop full of corn syrup. Yeah, stuffed it back at the dentist. I don't think they do that now. I don't know. But you have to think about that, y'all. Pay attention to that stuff. That's cognitive dissonance in action right there. A child goes to the dentist and will say everything goes well, and they're like, "Oh, you were such a great patient today," because a lot of kids don't care to go, and even adults really don't like having to go there. Okay, but that child, and so as a reward for being such a good child sitting in the dentist chair, they get to go home with a lollipop. Even at the doctor's office, how ironic is that? Cognitive dissonance in action, because what are lollipops made of? Primarily corn syrup and other junk, food dyes, whatever other chemical there is. But because that child was such a good child at the doctor's office or the dentist's office, or, getting that checkup, now here's a lollipop. Let's give them some toxic stuff. Yeah, give them that lollipop so that in a couple of months they have to come back with another cavity. Oh, y'all know I'm speaking truth right there, right? And then, in the regular doctor's office, let's give them the lollipop. So in a few months, they'll come back with a bellyache. That's how they do it in the Matrix, y'all. Come on now, that's how the devil uses cognitive dissonance as the weapon of deception. But narcissists will fake being sick just to go there and to get that lollipop, per se. Not as an adult, no. But think about the goodie bags that you get as an adult as a reward for going there. Little toothbrush and toothpaste. Toothpaste that has what? Fluoride. No! Don't put that on your teeth. Okay? Don't do that. Yeah, you find some fluoride. If you are still going to use store-bought toothpaste, you can find fluoride free. That's not a secret. But narcissists will fake feeling unwell to get attention, and they'll do it in however way they can think of. And to be honest with you, once they listen about narcissists, once they figure out their shenanigan works, they'll use that same one over and over again. We can call it a ruse, R-U-S-E, right? We can call it a ruse even, or ruse, however you want to say it, okay? And they'll use that same one over and over again as long as it continues to work. And a lot of times, even if it doesn't work, just like the devil has no new tricks, right? He keeps trying the same old stuff over and over again that used to work in the past. And when it stops working, he don't even care. He don't even see the fact that it stops working. Right. For example, y'all, chosen one, how we overcome things. Well, there was a dislike of mine to a particular smell I still don't like it, but I have overcome that. And so it doesn't stop my ANS from breathing like we're supposed to, because that's what the devil was doing. He knew that I did not like the smell of cannabis. He knew that, but now I know it smells like pollen, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's just pollen. And so I overcame that, and so with that, my ANS no longer stops breathing for a moment at that smell. But the devil don't know that. He don't see that part. He don't see the fact that we overcome that. Narcissists don't do that. They don't overcome. Okay? And so the devil keeps trying that over and over again. Just like narcissists will use the same ailments, the same whatever they think is wrong with them, or they know it's not wrong with them, but they will fake it if it continues to get them attention, and even when it doesn't. But as long as, if nobody else around them will give them the attention that they're looking for, they'll just go to the big H and get it there. So it's like, okay. And so that's why you have a lot of narcissists that remain dependent on man. Absolutely, they will fake that. And so the devil, and they'll use it over and over and over again, even after it stops working. But it will never stop working at the big H. Let that sink in. Narcissists will fake ailments just to get the attention at the big H, and it won't stop working there. Because how many different, well, I mean, listen, from Florida to Texas, y'all, and I can tell you, and then even when I was a truck driver, I just never really paid attention to the amount of hospitals. There's a lot of them. And I said, okay, that's what we mean by the big H, y'all. Talk about the hospitals, the big H. And so there's tons of them. So if the narcissist wears out their welcome in one area, they'll find another one to go to. Come on now, seriously. I don't think that it's going. I could be wrong, but I would not think that they would put this person as a hypochondriac. Maybe they would. I don't know, but I don't know how you get diagnosed with that. But being a hypochondriac or an attention seeker, and may or may not have that wrong with them. I mean, I don't know. Is it in their records? Who knows? But the narcissist will do that. And so the devil, right, he keeps using that smell of cannabis to try and see if it'll stop my ANF. It don't work on me anymore. I have overcome that. Okay, my ANS will breathe just fine because she, my little inner child there, knows that, oh, that's just pollen. Breathe anyway. Okay, so there you go. And the devil don't see that though. That's why he continues to use it. But the narcissists always fake. They always fake stuff to get attention. It's just one of the many things they do. And so I see the comments over here. All right, let's see. It says, hi, okay, so Chris is sharing, it was taken to a doctor by your mom with low energy, and the doctor prescribed a bag of high sugar sweets for my low energy. Oh, okay, see, that goes in line with the cognitive dissonance in action, where, yeah, a large bag of candy, right? Yeah, here, give them the lollipop. And so they got to come back with a bellyache in a few months, or give them this at the dentist, give them a lollipop because they were a good kid, and then they got to come back in a few months and have a cavity filled or something. Yeah, okay. And so speak to the doctors in your customer service role at work, and you're constantly surprised how little common sense they actually have. This is why we... Let me tell you something. It's because they are programmed by the Matrix. See, this is something we're starting to realize, y'all, about narcissists, and it doesn't matter their profession, and this is why we lose expectations of people based on their position, status, and title. Just because they are in that field, just because they went to medical school for 8 years or more, just because they did all that, doesn't mean they got common sense. Because when they got all of that, they were programmed. They were being brainwashed by what they were being taught in order to do this and to do that. Now, we're thankful that they're taught, in very specific field. We're thankful for that. But I have to tell you that when you're saying that you are constantly surprised by how little common sense they have, not all of them are like that. But I want to be clear here, y'all. When we talk about this, we're not talking about all of them, okay? We're just talking, if they don't, listen, if they are a grown adult and they lack that much common sense, that pretty much tells you who they are. They might have the skill set, things like that, because they were conditioned and perfectly programmed to perform in that manner for their position, status, and title. But when it comes to use it. Well, they don't have the common sense because they can't use their own brain. They don't have access to their self-thinking ability. This is why you'll hear and you'll see a lot of narcissists be like, oh, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Let me wait and see what so-and-so is going to do. How many times do we hear that? Or something like that. A lot when it comes to narcissists, because they can't. They want to follow the crowd. They want to wait and see what everybody else is doing before, oh, I'm going to go do that. Really? Okay. That's being conformed to this world. That's what that is. And they can't think for themselves. They have to be told what to do. Okay? They have to be told what to eat. They have to be told what they're going to watch on the television. They have to be told. They don't realize it. I'm going to tell y'all something. Yeah, a lot of them don't realize that they're waiting to be told what to do. Even though when we step in and we try to correct them, they think that we're criticizing when we're not. They don't like to be corrected. Okay? And so that's the thing. Narcissists, because they themselves are fake, they're going to fake stuff to get attention. It's like they make up sob stories to get attention. So that's no different. That's no different. They do that all the time. Right, and we look, right, that's what I'm saying. It's so important. When you break the dependency on external validation, but you also have to let go of any expectations you may have for anybody that has a position, status, or title. If you have an expectation of that person because of a position, status, or title, you're going to be let down. You're going to be disappointed every single time. No expectation. Okay, now I know y'all expect me to get up here and deliver, okay, the messages that God has on my spirit to deliver and to educate and to lead you all. Yes. But as far as expecting me to have, okay, well, y'all know, chosen one, we have common sense. That isn't my point. It's just that I don't want y'all having expectation, right, because of my position, status, or title. We don't even look at that, okay, because we wear many hats. So as an instructor, yes, I'm guessing you probably do expect me to instruct. Okay, that's one thing. I'm going to do that. All right, but as far as expecting anything else, we don't even do that. We don't even do that because we know that will lead to self-disappointment. And this is why we don't, man, our flesh, we ain't no promises. Only God. Okay, God is the only promise keeper that there is. Okay, because life happens. And so I learned early on that making promises is really something we should never do. Okay, we could say, listen, I'm going to get to that. Like, I'm going to simplify that receptor article at the academy. Again, I have not forgotten. I found my post-it note during the move. Or shall I say transition, if you will. Okay, so I found it. I was like, I know I have it. And I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that. You know how God moves. Okay, and so grateful. Okay, so you think to yourself, you're grateful that without that, right? You're grateful that one you're talking to with no common sense is not your doctor. I get it. I agree. Okay, so you live up to expectation through quality. I appreciate that, but yeah, and we don't. Well, we got to practice what we preach. You see, and be not the hypocrite that they are. That's the thing. When they fake an illness to go and get attention, it's very hypocritical because they'll turn around when they come back. They'll turn around and all of a sudden, they whatever they went for, they don't have it anymore. Like, boom, boom, like it never happened. That's how the narcissists are. That's very hypocritical. Gosh, their actions don't match words, right? There you go. And so, and they continue. I need y'all, don't forget about this. When Jesus called the Pharisees and the high priest out for being hypocrites, it's like they didn't they weren't listening. Okay? So same thing with narcissists. Don't tell them they're a hypocrite, because they're not going to listen. And they will deny and deflect, try to blame shift. Oh, it's always going to be somebody else's fault. Why? Never mind. Okay, so it's not worth, don't waste your breath. Okay, don't waste your breath. And they're always going to be like that. Okay, they're always going to be like that, because narcissism has been so normalized out there in the matrix, it's not funny. And because they think that that's the normal thing to do, and don't recognize they're pointing out abusive behaviors of others, but not recognizing themselves dishing it out. So it's I know, cognitive dissonance in action right there too. So be not deceived. Okay, be not deceived. Always remember. Okay, and said that, so don't they, meaning the narcissist, don't they worry about being embarrassed, about being found out when they're faking? Even though they do have the demon of worry, and they are paranoid, and they are living in fear, they don't have a conscience. In order to even think about being, right, they don't believe they'll get found out. That's the thing. They don't believe that they will get found out. Yeah, I know, let that sink in. They don't believe that. They truly believe they're going to get away with it, because they have gotten away with it for so many years. And because we have a plethora of big H's out here, they can relocate to another state and start all over again with the attention seeking, with the thousands of different big H's they can visit there. So they don't believe that they'll get found out. And they do have the demon of embarrassment and the demon of worry, but those are only in action when it comes to them not getting their way about something. Okay? Or something that the Matrix has put out there as a fear-mongering narrative. But when it comes to their own actions in faking something, they don't even think about the fact they could be found out. They don't believe that they will. Just like this is why they test us. When they first meet us, this is why they test us. Because they want to see how aware we are, or if we're even aware of them. That's what they're looking for. They want to see if we know about the evil that they are, okay? And that's what they do. They're testing for boundaries. They're testing for all of that. And so once they realize there's a little wiggle room, that's when they weasel their way in. Okay? So that's the narcissist for you. And once they get us trauma bonded to them, they also truly believe that they'll never be found out. Yet, at the same time, they'll tell their target that they know how this will end. And they do that oftentimes in the very beginning as a part of the test. Okay, narcissists will do that. They want to see if you will be like, what are you talking about? How is this going to end? Because they're future faking, right? They're telling you that you're going to spend the rest of your lives together. And so when they tell you, oh, I know how this is going to end, you'll be like, what? What end? I thought we were going to be together forever, right? And so now they're playing that game of confusion. They just want to see if you catch on. That them telling on themselves, but it slipped right past us, because at that time we're so smitten and trauma bonded that we're like, what? I thought you said we were going to be together forever, So why are you talking about how this is going to end? Now we know why. Because it does end with them. And so, but at the same time, they don't believe that they'll get, right. And they want to try and tell us that we're soulmates. They use that. I'm going to tell y'all something. No. Soulmates, no. That's not even real. And narcissists are lazy, so they would love to get, exactly. That's the other thing about narcissists, y'all. They are lazy, and they love to have people pamper them and to wait on them hand and foot. Okay, chosen ones, look, we go out to eat and we have a waiter or a waitress. Okay, that's fine. They got a job to do. But we don't go in there, right? We're not going in there, right, expecting any kind of special treatment. We just know we're going to have a waiter or a waitress because that's the type of place it is, and we're going to be served, and then we will leave a tip accordingly. And then, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. But a narcissist, even in their own home, they want to be, they want to be pampered. They love to have that. And seriously. And so, because of their, because of their laziness. And so we're sharing that, okay, Department for Work and Pension in the UK, the DWP. Okay, I appreciate that. Well, that's why I said soulmates, that's not even real, y'all. And the twin flames banana, no. That's why I've gotten on here and I've said before, even on Quora, when I see that all the time, I see people thinking that a narcissist and a chosen one are twin flames. No, and no. That's such a big lie. That soulmate twin flame thing, no, you better forget about that. That's feeding the flesh. And that's lie, that's deceit. Do I believe that there are people God intends? Yes. Okay, there are marriages and there are people that are supposed to be together according to God. But that doesn't make them soulmates or twin flames. No. It makes us brothers and sisters in Christ. Big difference. Huge difference. It makes us brothers and sisters in Christ. Not twin flames or soulmates. I mean, I remember when I first started reading about that, when it talked about chosen one versus narcissist. And I was like, okay, well, first of all, we're not in competition with them. But it is a spiritual battle between chosen ones and narcissists. It's a spiritual battle for the mind. So we have to keep that going. Because the awareness going, y'all. The battle's ongoing regardless, okay? It has been ongoing since mankind. And even before God created Adam, that spiritual battle's been around. Because, after all, God had created the morning star, not intending for him to go dark and to turn evil. God didn't intend for the morning star to do that. But it happened. And so God said, okay, well, God dealt with that accordingly. So now we have to learn now how to do that. How we deal with the demonic. Okay? By not dealing with it, but how we become aware of it. And we go, okay, you know what? This is what the Matrix and the devil are trying to pull. And so we get around all of that. But when I started coming across that on Quora, it never sat right with me about the twin flame and soulmates, and now I know why, because those things they're not real. That's not real. That's a fleshy desire. That's to feed the sin. That's to induce, if you will, the fornication and to promote it really, in the fleshy stuff. With emotion and stuff and all of that romance and that's oh gosh, wow, that's all lies from the devil himself. And so understanding that, there's people who are meant to be together and those are God's people. So again, that just makes us brothers and sisters in Christ. That's all. And so no two people are alike exactly. No one is like another. Thank you. I've always believed that as people, okay, we are supposed to be individuals. We're not supposed to be just like somebody else. We're all supposed to be unique the way God created us. To be different and set apart. But with the narcissist, how the Matrix programs and conditions them to all pretty much not say look alike, but yeah, in many ways. And then also to engage in the same stuff, following the crowd over and over again. And we're not to do that. We're not to do that. And so we may have some things in common, but we're all still unique. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Okay, Chris, that's so true. We are all unique. We may have things in common. Of course, our love of Christ is a big one right there. So when we are brothers and sisters in Christ, okay, that's the godly union right there. Being brothers and sisters in Christ, a godly union. Not twin flames, not soulmates. Two people meant to get married, then that's going to be up to God. We should always, I'm going to tell y'all, that's why a lot of us, well, we married a narcissist and divorced a narcissist. And I learned that, and then after dating again, and then I said, you know what, that's it. I need to turn this over to God. That's what I had to learn. Was I was trying to, and so it's in God's hand, 100%. Whatever it is that God has meant for yours truly, that's what's going to happen. And it's always going to happen at God's appointed time. I got on TikTok and I delivered that message. It's so true. Everything is always at God's appointed time. Not ours, not the matrices, but God. Okay, remember, I tell y'all this all the time. I said, God will level you up when he sees that you're ready. He's getting you ready. If you have not seen the level up, then he's getting you ready. But see, I also know there's some other things that he was wanting to do for this ministry that hadn't happened yet. A couple of things have since we left Florida. See, I didn't realize that Florida was it was like a suction cup in that area as far as me thinking that I was going to get more established there. And God's like, no, got to get you out of there. And so once we did, because the spiritual realm, okay, even though God keeping the cosmic balance, yes, and I could sense it there, but that place, that demonic place in Orlando, it was, it was a spiritual hindrance to our progress, big time. And so we had to get away from that. And we did. So glory be to God. But y'all got to remember that. God's appointed time. We can't be trying to rush nothing. It's only going to happen when God needs it to happen. And when he means for it to happen. So, well, that's it. Okay, and that's the other thing about narcissists. Yes, they want everyone to conform to their taste and likes and all that. Yeah, they want you to change. They want you to be like them. That's what they do. That's why they come along and they make comments about your outward appearances. They trying to change you. Y'all watch out for that. That's a big red flag right there. If you meet somebody and they want to say something about your outward appearances, remember, God don't care about that. I had someone I just had to block and delete, okay, right here on this YouTube channel. When I was talking about that, how narcissists care only about the outward appearances, their public image, if you will. I put that out recently. Somebody gets in a comment, a narcissist gets in a comment and says that my look is strange. I said, oh, really? Okay, good. Bye-bye. That's right. And they got themselves blocked and their comment deleted because we're not going to play that. I said, I see exactly what they're doing, And that was just their attempt to try and trigger me. Didn't work. And try to change me. Anytime somebody comes in and makes a comment about my style, I know automatically what they're trying to do. They're trying to change me. No. How about that? A big capital N-O. I don't mind toning it down a little if I'm going to get out there, right, in person and get on and do a speech or public speaking. I don't mind toning it down. Okay, that's one thing. I get that. But when it comes to me getting up here doing my own content and doing this stuff, we got a warrior makeup. Yeah. That's what, seriously? Well, we're going to keep our style. But I do tone it down from time to time. I don't mind doing that. But we're not changing it. No, absolutely not. But that's what they want. Narcissists want to change you. They want to try and turn you into one of them. Now, why would I do that? That's not changing it. It's just toning it down. It's called being professional and understanding that, well, because I think about it, I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to speak and I'm going to motivate and deliver a message for an audience who may never have heard of me. And so, yes, I'll admit that if you see me for the first time with this warrior makeup, you might be a little, you know? And it's not that we care what they think. It's just we have respect. Okay? That's what it's all about right there. It's the respect. Okay? It is a respect thing. And so that's why I'm like, yeah, and I'm making known. I'm like, well, but nonetheless, I really shouldn't even have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, because it's not like it's so out there. But I know exactly whenever they come in on the comments and they make those remarks, I'm like, yeah, okay, nice try. No, it doesn't even, no, that sting that used to occur years ago, it's been long gone. Whenever they put comment like that in the comment, I laugh. I'm like, oh really? Block, delete. I'm like, narcissist. Yeah, revealing their true colors. So, but that's it. And they want you to turn into one of them. Okay, that they want you to have all of their likes and taste and all of that. And so we were talking about those of us who had to get a divorce because we married a narcissist. So it's just a mistake in marriage to not realize that you both have different needs and things like that, and allow your partner to be themselves and continue to grow. Well, that's the other thing too. You know, I did not recognize when the angry narcissist was trying to change me. I didn't recognize it, but see, that's why we do now. Now going forward, since we are aware of narcissists and that's what they're trying to do, whenever they make a comment about how we look or how we're doing something, don't forget that too. That's a red flag. If they make comments about a certain way we're doing, we're going to get it done the same way. But because they don't like the fact that we're doing it differently than they would. That's it right there. Okay? They want us to change our ways to suit them. And stuff. So, and do I still believe in marriage? Well, sure. I know there are a lot of godly marriages out here. Absolutely. It's just, well, you got to leave it in God's hands. That was the lesson I had to learn. It's just patience and leave it to God. But absolutely, do I still believe in it? Yeah. I mean, I believe there are people meant to be together. And that's why I told y'all that I don't know. I don't know. He's not talking to me about any of that right now. There's so many other things on our plate. I'm waiting for God's appointed time. If that's what he has planned for me, he will reveal it at his appointed time. So that's what it looks like. And I'm like, yeah, full control to God. And yes, there are a lot of other beautiful places in this world, or on this planet, if you will. All right, there's a lot of beautiful places on this planet besides Florida. Absolutely, 100%. And so, and so you ask, what business is it of theirs how I look? And what's how you look got to do with anything anyway? That's the thing, because let me tell y'all something. Okay, the Matrix conditioned people to focus on the outward appearance. I remember in undergrad, and even though it was fun, I understand the concept though. Seriously, you don't want to go to a job interview wearing a short mini dress and, okay, all right, I get that. But it's just the way that it's presented. It's like, because it's part of how the Matrix wants people to be uniform. Right? Yeah, to conform. Uniform, conform. How? Right? Why do you think when you go work at a certain place, they have a uniform? I get the professional side of it. Yes, I get all of that. Okay, I get the premise, but there's another side to it. It's that outward appearance. It's right. I mean, the professional side, we get that, and then but we also get the spiritual too, as far as having, because it gives off that conformity appearance. Even though we know in toxic workplaces, even though we would wear their uniform, if we didn't conform to their work culture, that we oftentimes got our hours cut. Yeah, and then other abuse was dished out because we didn't conform to their work culture. And so we were often left out of a lot. So there you go. Even though we were wearing the uniform. But wearing the uniform gave off the appearance of conformity to the workplace. Another way the devil's all about appearances. So you got to remember that. Okay, and so whenever I come down here and get this, okay, so yeah, the job situation is different. Exactly. You work for yourself, so you get to choose your look. Exactly. And, right, judging and prejudging our look. Absolutely. And we don't do that. Only God. Yeah, only God has the authority, okay, to judge. And he's not judging the outward appearances anyway. You know, God's always looking at the heart. That's all he cares about is the heart. And so keep that in mind. Right? But narcissists are always going to do, well, they're going to do the evil that they're going to do because they themselves are evil. And so when they fake stuff because they are fake, that goes to show. And we learn to see it for what it is. Learn to see it for what it is. But yeah, when you say, what's my look got to do with anything anyway? That's the thing. I remember the Jezebel that gave birth to me when I did a commercial, a short 30-second commercial, if you will, for a project that once I found out was a deception. We cut ties with them, stopped working with them. But I did a short 30-second, like just under 30 seconds. And I mean, I got a lot out in one breath, it seemed. And so I shared it with her, another test to spirit by the spirit. And she said that it was really good. But if you want anyone, she told me, she said, if you want anyone to listen to what you're saying, you might want to tone down your makeup. I'm like, what? And again, that was another thing. I said, I'm not sharing nothing like that with her now. Like the short that I did where I talked about how narcissists are a zombie, and she pointed out, I don't like that. That makes your eyes look red. I mean, everything she criticized my appearance about everything. And I was like, wow. I said, she really, wow. Yeah. Yes. The Jezebel that gave birth to me, y'all, did that. And I was like, wow. Okay then. And well, when it came to the YouTube short that I did about narcissists being zombies, I just looked at her. I said, excuse me. I said, I didn't create that for you. And I walked away. And so same thing, you know, with that short commercial I did. I was like, I said, okay. And I walked away. I let her think what she wants to think. Because we're going to get up here and we're going to deliver God's messages. Whether, because you got to remember, what does Jesus say though too? The Holy Spirit, when it speaks, it's only going to resonate with those who it's meant to resonate with. And it's not going to resonate with narcissists. So I got to share with you on something else in the previous place before I got here, where we were there in Channelview, Texas for a couple of nights. I did. I went ahead and I took my trash to the dumpster, and so and then I was rearranging some things in my car, and so I got the trash out of my car and I took it to the dumpster. And at that time there was this little it was just like a little trailer that was smoking like barbecue, smoking food. And so I was looking over there because it smelled good, and I was reading it, the name. I saw the truck parked next to it. I said, okay, they must be getting ready to they're cooking some stuff up, and they're going to go make some sales. And there was this dude in his vehicle. And as I was walking by, I was looking, reading the thing. And I'm going to tell you, when he opened up his mouth, he was talking. But it was very incoherent. I was like, what did he just say? I said, I could not comprehend what he just said. That's the thing, chosen one, because that was the demon talking. That's why. We don't care. If it's incoherent speech like that, and so I was like, I'm not going to be rude, because I could tell that he asked a question, but I could not make out what the heck it was. Because he was fumbling at the mouth almost like. It was like, and so I said, excuse me? And I still could not make out everything he was trying to say. But he was asking something about that, the cooker thingy. And I said, oh, that? I said, I've never had it. I don't know. And he's like, oh, okay. But everything he said in between, I was like, no idea. No idea. But yes. Okay, 30 minutes back. Okay. 1 Peter 3:4. God says, other than that, we consider in others, and we don't be stumbling. Okay, I gotcha. Okay. Okay, when I was telling you about the Jezebel that gave birth to me, as far as the commercial, I said, no, she was not listening to what I was saying at all. Nope, she wasn't listening to anything. I guarantee it. No, because narcissists, they hear you, but they don't listen. Okay, and in Romans 14:13, consider our influence. That's right. Meaning, even if something is lawful, but it causes a babe in Christ to stumble, we avoid whatever in their presence. Okay, that's right. That's true. Causes a babe in Christ to stumble. Okay. You already said that. Okay. Yeah, thank you for sharing those, Cindy. I appreciate it. And yeah, I know you will have to catch a good portion of this on the replay, and that's fine. That's fine, because we get up here around 2 p.m. Eastern time. And now that's 1 p.m. for yours truly on Central time. And Cindy, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but where we are, okay, hang tight, because I will get to tell y'all. Once I have a couple more things that we need to discover and explore first, and then I'll be able to tell y'all some more stuff. But where we are now, it's not our final destination. It never is. Y'all got to remember that. Everywhere that God, He replanted us here. Not at this hotel, but in the state of Texas. All right? Oh, man. All right, in the state of Texas, but not in this hotel. We were just staying here temporarily to do the exploration that we need to do. But we finally made it. And we're out of Florida. We are in Texas, I will tell you that. And we're just sorting through some stuff. And I have some school homework that I have got to get done. Yes. Okay, yeah, we've been rolling with that. Over the last few weeks, this term has been very productive as far as making progress finally. So we're finally doing that. And then the CHA Truth Seeker podcast has also made some progress. And so we're glad to announce that. And it's not a coincidence that all of the progress that's being made for this ministry started happening when we got out of Florida. I want y'all to understand that. And so like I alluded to earlier, is because I realized that demonic influence of the spiritual was hindering us in the spiritual. That's what was happening. And the devil was trying to basically keep us there and wanted to trick us into thinking we were stuck there. But God said no. He said God has us. Oh man, let me tell you, absolutely. There is no stopping God. You know, when He says that's it, we're gonna make the progress that we're gonna make. And the devil only has what used to work in the past, the same old stuff over and over again. He gonna try that over and over and over again because it once worked. Well, and that's what he's been trying to do, y'all. The things that he got away with until I became aware of them at the mini electrocution chamber I lived in Florida. Yeah. Okay. More about that on the Patreon channel. But when I was there, that cycle of radio frequency poisoning and then the cleaner and noises and things like that over and over again. So it's like every time I checked into a new hotel on this journey, even here, within the first night, it's the patterns are the exact same. And so the devil's just he's trying to put us back in the physical condition that we were in when we lived in the mini electrocution chamber, and he can't do it. He can't do it because he can't see what's on the inside. He can't see. All he can see is if there's any like inflammation or what have you still lingering. All he can see is a little bit of this or a little bit of that. That's all he can see is on the outside. Okay? He doesn't know the progress that's being made on the inside. He don't know. He don't realize that we on the creatine and the protein powder and eating a lot more healthy these days. And I mean seriously. And just all around. And he don't see that. But he's been trying to, and that's what the Jezebel attack in Port Allen, Louisiana, those 3 nights. That was what that was about. She was trying to one up another Jezebel. I'm going to talk more about how they do that. It's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. They all, because they see me, and because the Jezebel passed the baton in the spiritual, they know. Okay, they know what the Jezebel case study did to me. Okay, and well, tried to do, but they know. And so all they have is the demon of assumption that all of that would still be in place. Because I'm going to tell y'all, the Jezebel case study, what the heavy metal toxins that she put in my body, those are gone. They have been gone for a long time. We detoxed those. It's like God said, yeah, they got to go first. He said, those heavy metals got to go, and they're gone. So what we're dealing with now are like your typical sodium, aluminum, salt, stuff like that, detoxing those out. So, yeah, but the Jezebel don't want to see that. The devil don't want to see that. So the Jezebel with the demon of assumption is assuming that I still have those heavy metals, and that's why she pulled what she pulled. It was the devil's desperate attempt to keep us from getting where we're at now. You can't stop God. Never forget that. You cannot stop God. And so that wrapped this up. I just wanted to share that with y'all. But yeah. Okay, so, okay, so we have, I see you two. Number 1, and then number 2. Y'all don't. Yeah, I see. Okay. Okay, I admit that if a seasoned Christian walked into church scantily clad, one of us would take her aside to talk to her. That would be a stumbling block to men. Okay, and we're supposed to goad one another to good works. Yes, absolutely. So Hebrews 10 verse 24. Thank you. And so if someone walked into a church scantily clad, that would be an error in judgment on their part. It would be inappropriate. Okay, so it's just starting to come, and we'd be happy she's there. And then how they dress. Okay, yeah, I get where y'all are coming from, because I saw somebody who was at the the highway corner with the sign, and I wasn't. God spoke to me, and he's like, mm-mm. Because I was like, yeah, I said, why is she dressed like that? She was dressed like a prostitute. Dressed like a prostitute. And I was like, So, I mean, it is what it is. And, it's unfortunate, but, we live in an evil, fallen, Babylonian, narcissistic matrix. And so that must work for her. And so we turn it over to God. And stuff. So I get what you're, And, but if you're talking about in the church setting, you would address it with love, absolutely, and understanding, and talk to her about that. Okay, so I'm guessing that no one mentioned her soul needs Jesus first. Okay, so we actually have someone like that. That's what I figured that, Cindy, why you were sharing that important lesson with us, because red dress, backless, and short. No one mentioned her dress. Her soul needs Jesus first. Clothes, well, there you go. Okay, so with a red dress, backless, and very short. Okay, I can see why that was, okay, yeah. I know that how we dress definitely makes a difference, especially, in certain establishments. Now, if she was going to a cocktail party, that was more appropriate, right? That's what I'm picturing. That a dress like that is far more appropriate for a cocktail party. But even so, I mean, it depends. But a church, look, pray. That's all we can do is pray. Right, and God does know and look on the heart, and so he doesn't care about appearance, but a lot of people do care, and I am with y'all on the appropriateness of our attire for certain establishments. That I can tell you. As far as like when it comes to church. Now there are some churches where if you are wearing just jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers, that's fine too. But right, and then there's some churches who do want you to dress up. It's just really, I honestly, that's a tough spot right there. I've always been one that has believe that like a casual, in some cases, business casual even, but as far as, I mean, for this one, jeans and a t-shirt would be fine. Jeans and a t-shirt would be fine. I mean, I'm not, what I'm saying, you're covered up. I think that's the point right there, is that you don't want to be, you don't want to be looking promiscuous in that environment. That's not, and you really, as a true blue believer and Christian, you really don't want to, well, your mannerism does tell a lot too, because I mean, would y'all consider yours truly wearing a bikini on the beach promiscuous? No, it's a bathing suit, but it's also in how I carry myself wearing it, right? There's the difference. But it's the beach or the pool. It's different. I'm not going to wear it to go shopping. Right? Okay? At least not. Well, if I do go shopping wearing it, I'm going to have clothes on over the suit. Right? Okay. So I get what you're talking about. All right? It just really is a matter of just self-respect. Self-respect, really, in a lot of ways there. So I know we've gone a little bit over the 1 hour mark, and that's okay. Well, there you go, respect. There are nuances. I think we got to remember we are ambassadors for Christ, right, and we represent him. And if our appearance is distracting or screams, look at me, we are taking the focus off of, exactly. So cause someone to stumble by not being modest, but okay, and respecting others as well as the church and Christ and God. Well, yeah, and that's why I finally got to it, where it says really is a bit more about self-respect than anything. And then not a respecter of flesh, but to how you will approach that. And of course with love. But I get what you're saying. You don't want something to be distracting you from why are you there, right? Yeah, you're not there to get attention. No, you're there to listen to the word and to get closer to God, right? You are there as an ambassador for Christ, like you say. We all are. And so you don't want to take the focus off of him. And so when somebody comes in dressed a little provocatively, it can do that. It can take the focus and the attention off of, which you don't know the intention, right? At least not yet. You got to test the spirit by the spirit. And so thank you for the confirmation, Cindy, about the twin flames and soulmates. That's all fake. It's fantasy. And so if it's showy and loud like that in church, then we would consider that inappropriate. Sure. And so daily in the Bible, praying and considering feedback from our brothers and sisters. Yes, God may or may not direct us in a right or not. And thank you. We are. God's not finished with us yet. We're always a work in progress. I appreciate that. And y'all, thank you. Okay, same for y'all. Okay, you all have a special place in my heart. Let me tell y'all something. Okay, I thank you, and God bless all of you, because I'm gonna tell you that there have been moments, not recently though. All right, everybody. Let's see. We are back. See, when y'all know whenever that happens, right? Y'all know whenever that happens that we gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna come back, because I got to finish making this point. Okay, and I see y'all. It's not expensive to pay in pounds. Okay. Same difference apart from the exchange. Okay, I see y'all. Okay, CD in action. Okay. All right, everybody. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, we back. Okay, CD and there we go. Now I'm catching up with y'all. Okay, because okay, and so right, yeah, buffering right at the point that I was getting ready to make, and so we're gonna do that right here. Okay. Thank y'all for waiting, and as always, you know that that's how we roll. We're gonna come back. And continue. Yes. Okay. All right. What I'm talking to y'all about, when you were saying that about our hearts, okay, and that's what God's looking at. And so, when you say you love my heart, I love yours, and I love Chris's heart. I love all of our fellow warriors' hearts, and that's what I think about. Because before, when I was trying to think about how we were going to proceed when I got out of that mini electrocution chamber, only to find myself in another place of crazy making, but I had to sort it out. And so there were times during that short season that I was like, man, I don't, how am I going to do this today, God? How am I going to do this? How am I going to get up here today and do this message and stuff? And even though I had my moments of not feeling like it, I did. But God reminded me of y'all. And I said, you know what? I said, but even though we know that y'all don't necessarily get to attend every single live, we know you're going to catch the replay. And so God will give me a message, but I'm like, I just don't feel like it today. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And God just said, remember that even if it says 0 up there the whole time you're streaming, they going to get the message because they meant to. And so I think about y'all. I think all I have to do is think about you all. And I'm getting my caboodle out, and I'm putting my makeup on, and I'm getting ready, and I'm like, all right, mental prep. I think of you all. I think about God the God Spirit in you all, and what you all might be going through. And that the message I got to deliver is going to be for you all. And it's going to resonate. It's going to be much needed. Whatever it is. And so when I asked God, I'm like, you know, there were moments like that. And yeah, glory be to God. It had not happened. Okay, it had not happened for a while. But I just always am thinking about you all when I get up here. And I'm like, okay, so I mean, it's like, even if I got to take a break from a live stream, I let y'all know that in the YouTube community. But it's you all that, you know, the God Spirit in you all, it's y'all that I think about. And that motivated me enough to overcome the not feeling like doing anything that day for that season. So thank you. Okay. And, you know, much love to all of you as well. Okay. Remember, God loves you and I love you. And that's the bottom line. I don't say it all the time because chosen ones, we know that's an automatic thing. We shouldn't have to tell each other that all the time. But it is nice to express that every so often. Because I feel like if we say I love you all the time, yeah, it kind of takes away. It no longer feels genuine anymore if you have to say it all the time. You know? So it's a nice surprise when God puts it on His Spirit to do that, to let y'all know, because love is spiritual. And so I just wanted to tell y'all that. And hello, Rachel. Listen, y'all, all of y'all that are tuning in, we're about to wrap this up, but we had a few minutes of a buffering there towards the end, and I had to get back up and finish that point that I was making about those that I was making about how it's you all that motivate me, okay, as well. You still do. I just don't have those feelings of not wanting to get up here anymore. You know, I had a short season of that. And so how I overcame that is by thinking of you all. And the fact that, you know what, I have to do this. This is not, you know, this is for the glory of God. And thinking of you all and what you might be going through. That's the empathy. And so I was like, no. And so, and that's what motivated me to get that caboodle out, get this makeup on, get on up here, give the message, right? Not today. And again, I haven't had that happen in a while. But there was that season while I was still in Florida, and I had to leave the mini electrocution chamber, and I went somewhere else. I had to figure out what we were going to do. I had to figure some things out. And we did here and there, and we continued to, and then now we are out of Florida, and we are in the great state of Texas, and we're getting it figured out here. And I'm going to share more with y'all, so stay tuned, and I highly encourage everybody, if you haven't done so, you can join us on the Patreon membership channel on the free side, okay? You can do that to test the waters, and then over time, y'all will eventually unlock access to the exclusive content for as little as $5 a month. And we look forward to seeing you there. Those of you who are there, again, you know, listen, all y'all, I mean, come on now. This is a growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ. And we're just getting started. You know, I know we've been at it for several years and things like that, but we're still just getting started. We're just getting started. And glory be to God that we are going to. Oh, I appreciate, I know y'all don't take it for granted. I know you don't. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you're welcome. All right. And I highly encourage y'all, you know, catch, I know Cindy was like, she's like, I'm way back. You'll catch up, y'all. You will catch up. Okay. And, just learn the hard way about selling God's will about your choice of marriage. And I know, we were talking about that too. As far as learning the lesson to leave marriage and dating to God, to, you know, once we realize that these are narcissists, and we're like, okay, you know what, that's where we made a mistake, and it's just because we didn't leave it in the hands of God, but we didn't know yet, and now we do. We leave it in the hands of God, and at God's appointed time, if it meant, whatever is meant for us chosen ones is going to happen. Can't no man or devil stop it. I'm going to tell y'all, like I said in the beginning, you're going to hear this on the replay, because the devil tried to prevent us from making it here. Yes, where I am, okay, in the state of Texas, the devil tried like heck to prevent us from getting here. And I know why, several reasons why, okay? And we're going to talk about that later on because it's a real true blue testimony. And those of you, listen, if you're thinking about relocating and you have a place that's on your heart to go, the devil's going to fight you like hell to keep you from getting your heart's desire. So we're going to talk more about that, okay? Because he will. If the devil knows, that's why we learn to move in silence. It's just that I said something years ago before I knew about narcissism and all of that. And so it took me 4 years to finally get here. But I will tell you, we made it. But we made it, but God. So that being said, okay, just stay tuned and don't lose hope. And if you do have a place you were thinking of relocating to, I hope I'm not too late or late at all for some of y'all. If you're thinking about relocating to a new place, a new jurisdiction, don't tell nobody. Keep that between you and God. Because I'm not the only one that can tell you this, but before we knew better and we blabbed it and we shared our heart desire with a narcissist, and the devil, that's the only way the devil knows about our heart's desires, if we speak it. And if we told one of the narcissists, or a narcissist overheard it, that's the only way the devil knows. Remember, the devil can't read our mind. And so that's the only way, because we spoke it. And so ever since I left North Carolina, the devil's been fighting like hell to keep me from getting here. But God. But we're here. So we got some exploring to do. And I thank y'all for your patience when the things happen, tech quirks, that buffers, and we do come back. We're going to do everything we can to come back. Even if I got to end it and start a part 2, we coming back. All right, we coming back to give y'all the rest of the message. Because when it buffered right there, at the point that I was trying to make, I thought, no, we getting back on. We're going to finish this. We're going to make this point. We're going to share this because it's important and it matters. Gosh, when you talk about the love of God here. So there you go, everybody. And I look forward to seeing your comments on the replay as well. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father. And you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.